Hello everybody, this is Overboy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2010 movie Iron Man 2. This movie is directed by Jon Favreau and written by Justin Theroux, and in this movie, Tony Stark um, has announced that he's Iron Man to the world, and the US government is wanting to get a hold of his suits so to use them as weapons, and he's trying everything in his power to keep them from taking his suits. And he's also one of his weapons competitors, Justin Hammer, is also trying to get the hands on the technology so he can make profit off of them for himself and everything. And Ivan Vanko, who is the son of a man that worked with Howard Stark, he's wanting revenge on the Stark family because Howard Stark had fired his dad and they had a really bad life and everything. So he's after Tony too, and he ends up forming a deal with Justin Hammer, agreeing to help him get a hold of the suits and everything, but he's actually really just trying to build himself his own suit so he can go against Tony and everything. And also in this movie, Tony is dying because of arc reactor in his chest not being able to work very good, and it's killing him and everything. But so he's trying to figure out how to stop that. There's a lot of stuff going on in this movie, but the movie's pretty fast-paced though for the most part. I mean, even though there's a lot of stuff going on, I really enjoy this one quite a bit more than most people do, and everything. But I do think that it wasn't quite as good as the first movie, but it was still a really good sequel. Robert Downey Jr. as always was excellent as Tony Stark and Iron Man. I don't think his performance in this was quite as good as the first one, but he was still really, really good in this. Gwyneth Paltrow is in this. She plays Pepper Potts, and they further develop her relationship with Tony Stark and everything. Their chemistry is still really, really good and everything, and I think she was as good as Pepper Potts again. As far as the new cast goes, there's quite a few new characters in this, but Don Cheadle, he's not a new character, but he takes over for playing Colonel Rhodes from Terrence Howard, and I personally feel that he actually fit the role of Colonel Rhodes way, way better than Terrence Howard did and everything. And I think the chemistry between him and Robert Downey Jr. is a lot stronger and a lot better as well. Scarlett Johansson is in this. It's her first time playing Natasha Romanoff, also known as Black Widow. In this movie, though, she goes by Natalie Rushman, who is who Tony Stark hires as a secretary to Pepper and everything. He doesn't realize that she's actually working for S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything, but and she's pretty good in this. She doesn't have a whole lot to do yet because she's mainly undercover throughout most of the movie, but towards the end of the movie she gets this really cool fight scene and everything, and director Jon Favreau has returns as Happy Hogan. He's a much bigger part in this movie than he was the first one and everything. And there's a cool scene when Scarlett Johansson and him are trying to fight these bad guys and everything. He barely knocks out like one or two of them, and by the time he's done, she's already knocked out a whole bunch of them. And it's a really cool scene. Sam Rockwell plays Justin Hammer, and I'm not really a really big fan of Sam Rockwell, and I think he did a good job playing the character. I just didn't really like the character, but I think that's what it was meant to be. I don't think you're really meant to like the character anyway, but I think Sam Rockwell did a decent job playing him and everything, but this isn't one of my very most favorite roles for him and everything. I like him being in smaller movies and stuff, but he did a good job playing Justin Hammer. And Mickey Rourke as Ivan Vanko. I thought he was really good. I know most people don't like him in it, and they don't really like Whiplash as a villain. I thought he was a decent villain. I don't think he was extremely great or anything. I mean, he was kind of a one-note villain, just kind of there for this story and everything. But I still thought he was decent, and I thought his acting was pretty good and everything. I don't think he's one of the best MCU villains or anything, but I thought he was good enough. I still think I like Jeff Bridges' character, Obadiah Stane, in the first movie is a better villain for Iron Man than this guy, though. And Samuel Jackson is in this. He had a really brief cameo at the end of the first Iron Man movie after the credits, and he has a small part in this. I show him a few times, and he does a great job as Nick Fury and everything. I think this was one of my favorite. I had one of my favorite scenes with Nick Fury where they're eating in the donut shop, and he's criticizing Tony for the way he's been running his company and all that. I thought that was really cool. How is trying to inspire Tony to do better and everything. And I just think he's really good as Nick Fury. Of course, Samuel Jackson pretty much makes every movie he's in at least a little bit better. Even if the movie isn't good, he always makes it better and everything. And when a movie is really good, then it just makes it a whole lot better. The score by John Debney was really good. I liked the score in the first movie a lot better, but this one had a decent score. I like the music, the soundtrack and everything. It has some really good music by AC/DC and everything. I thought John Debney did a good job on the score, but I think that the score from the first movie was a lot better. The cinematography is once again done by Matthew Libatique. I probably butchered his name again, but it's good. It's not quite as good as the cinematography in the first movie was, but it's still pretty good. I mean, it just wasn't quite as on par with the first one, but the action sequences in this are pretty good. Has some pretty cool scenes. I like the scene with the little speedway race thing where Whiplash first appears and everything. I thought that scene was really cool, and the big fight between Whiplash and Tony and War Machine, I thought that was pretty cool. But my favorite scene in this whole movie is when Tony is drunk and he's fighting Rhodey inside his house. I just love that scene. It's just awesome and hilarious and everything. And that scene right before he's like, "Y'all need to go so I can kick my friend's butt," or something like that. Has me dying laughing, because I mean, he's like laughing when he says it. I don't know if Robert Downey Jr. literally couldn't keep a straight face, or if it was just how good of an actor he is in that scene. But that scene just cracks me up and everything. But I do think some of the pacing is a little bit off. There are parts that are pretty slow, and I do think this movie could have been a lot better than it was, but it was still a pretty solid sequel. It went on par with some of the other Marvel sequels that we've gotten, but I still do enjoy it quite a bit. Now, a long time ago, if you would have asked me, I probably would have said this was my favorite in the trilogy, but I don't know if I could still say that now, because I always forget how much I love the first movie, because I always give this movie a lot more credit than most people do. And I do still love this movie and everything. And I also think it's cool that they kind of did this little retcon thing where the little boy that was trying to go up against one of the robots that Whiplash has invading the city, and Iron Man stops and helps him and everything, turned out to be Peter Parker. I thought that was kind of cool how they in this movie you would never know it, but I thought that was cool that they had that in there. Or at least according to Tom Holland, that was canon. That's canon now, that it really was Peter Parker. I don't know. I don't think they ever really intended it to be, but I still think it's cool. Yeah. For the most part, I do like this movie quite a bit. Not quite on the same level as the first one, but almost as much. So I'd say I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10 and everything, because it is a fun watch, and I always enjoy it when I watch it. I just think it could have been better than or it could have been a little bit better, but it was still a really good sequel, and I think it's a lot better than most people say. I think it's one of the most underrated MCU movies. But anyway, that's my review for Iron Man 2. If there's any movie reviews, top 10 lists, or movie series rankings you'd like me to do, let me know in the comments, and I'll get to them as quick as I can. And thank you, and have a good day.